Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's Natalie. We are having a little card with Copictopia. Now I'm going to do some background. As you can see here, I really love it. I'm just saying, I really love how it turned out. It's just, everything worked. And isn't that the fun of it? It's like when everything worked, it's just like, yes. You know, we love it. We love it. So as you can see there, I'm using Peruse. Okay, I'm not going to kill these words. I'm sorry. I'm going to say that now. Perusian green, turquoise, cerulean blue, and deep ocean blue, which is actually really quite bright. I have wet this down quite well when I added all those colors, so that's why they bloomed in together, which is what I wanted. I'm using less water here. This is actually a dry palette. Well, the dry cardstock, I should say. The palette's not dry, but you know. And we're going to do the same thing. This is just going to deepen the color a little bit more. And I'm using a really, really wide brush. And just going over the motions and doing exactly what I did before. Just swishing the color and leaving the very bottom of it a little bit. I've just used water on it, but that blue, the deep ocean blue, is going to bloom into that, where we're going to have some effect. This, I've got a cloth, as you can see, and I'm just dabbing off areas and doing little lines and just having hopefully a little bit of interest in the blue itself. That's all dry. So I have been playing with a bit of white gel pen, just off camera. There is another video that I'm going to come up with next week where I'm doing it a little bit more. It's a little bit different because it's with Copics. But this white gel pen, play around with it, see how it's going to react on the cardstock. I needed to let it dry a few seconds, so to speak, for it not to all rub off. And I'm just using my finger to smudge it, to smush it around. Unfortunately, there's not an awful lot you can see. It's a bit harder to see than in real life. So hopefully, if you go over to the blog, you might see some close-up, well, you will see some close-up photos. And hopefully you'll be able to see a little bit more of the interest and a little bit of more of the detail that's in it. The idea was to use it this way, but you'll see I'll actually flip that around completely, because yes, the little image would probably stand out a little bit more on the white, but my head couldn't do it. We'll talk about that in a minute. I'm going back through with obviously a thinner pencil and using some very light hand and just a little bit of paint and details in a little bit of paint on the brush sort of thing, and adding a little bit of detail in that. Sometimes I'm brushing that off, dipping my paintbrush in a little bit more water, bleeding that out. Some of them I've left darker, dabbing off obviously with a paper towel in certain areas. I just kept on going until I was happy with it, basically. That's literally all it was. I'm going back in a little bit more with some clean water and just blend it through. This is getting a little bit lighter. You can see it in the real card, but it doesn't really pick up. That's a problem. It doesn't really pick up so much, but it just adds a little hint and a little variation in quotation marks water. So we're going to let that dry. Well, I've dried it all off. I'm going to trim that down so shortly. I'm trying to show you a little bit of that detail in it, and as you saw by the little clap of hands, I'm a little bit excited about it. I'm using a different skin tone. Oh my gosh. This is E33, E11 and E51. Doing the same thing as I usually do, where things meet are going to be a little bit darker. He's got a rounded face, so around the edges it's a little bit darker. This, of course, depends on where your highlight is. More often than not, I put the highlight sort of in the center. It just seems to be my go-to thing, you know. If you're struggling with Copics or anything like that, I would suggest you do the same, in the sense of pick one light source, whether it's center, whether it's left, whether it's top right, and just practice the living daylights out of it until you're happy. And sometimes I've said this before, you on my channel you get warts and all, so sometimes I will start off trying to do one direction and I don't always stick with that direction, but I try. And this is what you're going to get with my channel. This is me. I completely stuff up sometimes. But, you know, it's just the fun and games of it all. So we're going into a little bit more of his scales for his hat. They're so stinking cute. Now, this is a new release, as I think I mentioned. Did I mention it? I don't know. I'm mentioning it now. Copictopia has a new release open. I will link down below to their website, and you can see all the bundles and the different releases they've got open. This set is called Gnomies at Sea, and I love it. I'm just going to say I really love it. So we've got C4, C5, C4, BO5, BO4, and BO2. The rounded part of, let's just call it scales. Let's just go with that, okay? Is going to be, I'm doing it as it's lighter, because the scale, you know, they sit overlapping, and the scale, the rounded part is sort of lighter. So I'm doing that dark shadow of the C4 right in that V and just blending it out. Again, I'm going to come in with a gel pen later on to provide a little bit of fun. I'm colouring these that they would give the impression that they're a little bit, the tail, the very tip of the tail is a little bit flicked backwards. I think it's, no, there's something like coral, but we're going to colour it as greenery and a bit of seaweed, even though it's not really seaweed, but you know, it's my card. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to come back later on, and then I'll come back in after I've coloured those greenery and just touch up the parts that I've missed with my colouring, because there's a lot of little in-depth bits and pieces in there. And honestly, spoiler alert, I'm actually going to cut off. When I'm cutting him out, I'm going to, part of the little greenery is going to be, unfortunately, surgically removed. Unintentionally, but, you know, it's going to happen. This is a very blue card. The background's blue. My little seaweed, my little gnomie. Well, he's not a seaweed, but my little gnomie, of course, is blue. But I thought he was fun, and I really wanted to colour him, so that's why I picked him in the release. Now, as I said to you, hang on, I better do this. All the starfish, not star wishes, I've got a little bit of a different combination with the R56, the RV55, and then I'm going to come in with a darker colour of the RV69 because I just wanted it a little bit darker. It's fine. It's good. With the scheme of things and the colour combinations, I wanted that red-violet sort of to give him a little bit of pop, because we do have a lot of blue. Now, I like my blue, don't get me wrong, but There was a little bit, he needed a little bit of pop of colour, so we're going to do that. And our complementary colour is sort of yellow orange with the blue, sort of orange, but we added a little bit. I'm using a tetrad colour combination with basically the orange and the blue and the green. I'm sort of stretching that a little bit, but it's all good. So you can see here that I just went in and filled in a couple little gaps. So we've got YR04, Y19 and Y15 for my little fishy. And it may be completely not the right colours for this fish, but it's my card and I loved how he turned out. So that's it. Microphone drop. End of story. But I think he turned out really, really cute. So as I mentioned, Copictopia has a new release. I will link down below. I also mentioned that. If you go over there, if you like anything that is not within the new release, you can use my code, which is Natalie10, and get 10% off your purchase. This is only with the things that are not on the pre-order. Okay, so I will, if you're thinking, oh wait, what was that code again? I will link it down below. We've got the 100, the C9 and C7 for his shoes, pretty straightforward. And that is going to be majority of our colouring done. Now I have the white gel pen, so we're going to put a bit of highlight because it was quite dark with his little shoes. Hiding. Now my starfish is okay, but I decided he needed a little bit of something. So he's going to have some little white dots, and I'm going to do that on all my little starfish. Now I thought he was a little bit too much, so I've just gone in with the RV69 just to dull some of those white dots down a tiny bit. And all my little scales have a little line on top of it just to provide an extra bit of shine, extra little bit of interest to my little Gnomie dude. So he's all cut out. This is where I sort of decided, no, I actually want him around the other way. As I said, yes, he will pop out probably better, but I think he turned out really, really well. My ground here is C5, C3. And I'm just sort of putting in some shadows because I have to ground him. It's just in every fibre of my being. Little foam dots, we're going to pop him up. Place him down. This card is it's really letting the background shine a little bit. A little bit of Stardust Stickles because you know me. Oops, sorry, that's my phone. I need to have a little bit of bling, a little bit of something on my cards. The last thing we've got is Sentiment, and he's glued down flat. So as I said, trying to keep him very plain and simple and let the cute little character and my background be it. Now, word of warning, do not do your Stardust Stickles before you've glued the base down. And I'm known to do this. If you've been on this channel for a while, you'll know that I get carried away, and that's it. So that is it with my card for today. I hope you're well. Take care. Talk soon. Bye.